Yo, what's good, everyone? So I was talking to my best friend yesterday, and we was having a deep conversation, and I finally said out loud that I actually get nervous. Like I said in my previous video, when you talk to yourself, you know the truth within your mind. So if you think about the truth, you can hide it. You never have to speak it out loud, right? But what I do is I speak the truth to myself as well. And I've not said to my girlfriend or my best friend that I still get nervous, and I've always been nervous since I've been gaining my confidence. I do believe I've made a lot of progress, but I still feel like I'm like this shell within inside myself, deep down, that my child self is still there, and that's why I find it hard to talk. I've done a video on this channel talking about fearful soul, and like I've mentioned multiple times that I'm not the most sociable person. I'm not like the antisocial person, like biting their nails in the corner of the room by any means, and being quiet isn't something bad. But letting your nerves overtake you, yes, being nervous is a natural thing, right? But letting it overtake you can be bad, because that can keep you in your comfort zone, and the comfort zone can be a killer. It can ruin a lot of your ideas and your goals. And I'm aware of this and I preach this, but I still don't do it. So what I mean is, I want to be more sociable just for the fact of the beliefs I have and how it can help you with just networking and just generally talking to other people, you know what I mean, learning. And it's like, I'm never not going to talk to someone else in my whole life. And in reality, it's just a person and you're just using your mouth to talk to them. I like to simplify things so it helps me. Because when you overthink, that's when it starts getting like a lot worse. If you're like, oh, what if they don't? That's when it gets like worse for you. So I generally believe that communication is needed, and especially when you forcefully go out your way, whether you want to or not, it can actually help you. Especially if you don't want to, because that's making you come out your comfort zone and gaining like knowledge. You know what I mean? Or just gaining like a new conversation from like a new person. But it's like, if I'm preaching this and I know how I want to improve, but I'm not doing it, I'm being a hypocrite. You know what I mean? I'm contradicting myself. But it's like a mental battle. It's me, I find it generally hard to go and talk to people. And when I hold a conversation, I actually think I hold it really well. It's just the oomph to go and do that. It's like the push through. And I said this to my friend yesterday. It's just more of the oomph. And that's just in general with a lot of things. Like when I was deciding whether to eat meat, I was struggling with that oomph to go through after not eating it for ages. So it's like, I have it with a lot of things and I'm really indecisive. But my friend said, why do you actually want to be sociable? And he was like, why do you actually want to? And when I was thinking, it's like, I actually don't. And I know what I just said, like believing it's good, yeah. And it sounds like, what's he on about? But what I mean is, I can happily not talk to people. I can happily just be on my own, right? But that's because I would rather that, because that's like my comfort. So that doesn't mean talking to people doesn't mean I don't want to talk to them. It's that I do, but I feel like it's so easy to not care because I just love my own company, if that makes sense. And especially with my friend, he's really sociable. So I feel like there's a lot more pressure for me to try and like keep up. Not keep up, but like if I'm here and he's being more sociable, talking, and then that's like one of my goals. I'm like here, and obviously it's like a competitive, like friendly competition of like helping each other grow. And that's what he does. Like sometimes if he sees someone, he challenges me to go and talk to them, and I do it. So it's like, if I can do it then, why can't I do it normally? It's just because the influence he has, and I know he's going to be like, hey, you little bitch. Like, not like to make me feel bad, but like a tease little wind up like you do with your friend who'll be like, oh, I thought you could do anything. I thought you was powerful. Like something like that, you know, to push me, but in like a joking way, not like, you worthless piece of shit, you can't talk like to anyone, like, you know what I mean? It's not like that. But because he's really sociable, it's like that, and I'm just like neutral. So I feel like sometimes I have to talk even if I don't want to. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And even the times that I do, I don't. So it's like, Is that me not being authentic to myself? Because what I'm saying and what I want and what I'm preaching, I'm not exactly doing as much as I could be. We have free will, right? And we don't use it to our fullest potential. I could talk to someone every single day and multiple people, as long as I can go outside and use my legs and use my mouth. I can talk to people. It's a use of free will. As long as you're breathing, you can bloody talk to people. You know what I mean? But I don't. So that's why I didn't want to say that I publicly get nervous to anyone. That's why I didn't say it to my best friend or my girlfriend. Because it's like, they're not going to view me as any less. But the ego isn't a bad thing, like I mentioned before. But it's like a hit at my ego because like the consistency and the representation of the ego. If I'm like, I get nervous, it's kind of like I'm going back, and it's like I've taken a hit because it's like, oh shit, like he's human. What I mean is, I want to be viewed as someone who's strong, and especially with how I think and how my ego is, I want to be viewed as someone who's like, wow, I really want to be like him and like look up to him, because it's nice to have that, you know what I mean? But if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm nervous, it's kind of like, oh, he actually has a weakness, and it's kind of like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I was taking it. Like, I've said this before on a previous video. It's like David Goggins, people view him as like a superhuman athlete because of what he does, like run for hours, and like he does crazy stuff. So it's like, they view him as someone who's like, wow, I look up to him because of the things he does. But it's like, imagine if someone like that was like, oh yeah, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm this, I'm that. People could be like, oh, they can actually get affected. You know what I mean? Everyone has emotions and everyone feels scared, whatever their fear is, or everybody feels sad, whatever they get sad about. Everyone feels angry, whatever gets them angry. It's just how you let that dictate your life. And it's like, I preach about wanting to control my emotions, but being nervous is an emotion, right? 'Cause it's something you feel, but I let that control me in, yeah, like in reality, I do. So it feels weird saying it, like out loud. I mean, I've already said it twice to, obviously, my girlfriend and my best friend, but it's just, I've said it to myself, where I talk to myself, and it's just like, like, I'm just still this kid, like, in this shell. Like, I just feel like my child self is deep down because of the trauma that has affected how I am and why I'm partially quiet. I say partially because when I'm thinking of communicating with someone, like in a gym or whatever, I'm not like, oh my god, my trauma, I can't do that. No, no, that's not what I mean. But the trauma has affected me in some way because of the energy and the emotions that I've felt that is still within me. So maybe it's a case of something to do with my inner self, no, my inner child as well, and healing my inner child. Because a lot of people just neglect their youth. It's like my song on my channel is I Can't Die Young, and it's talking about dying in your youth, and like the song is actually supposed to like resemble about how you should be dying with the spirit of your child in some sense, because a lot of people just neglect their youth and their inner self, and it's just like one day they grow up or try and fit in and they just leave them out, and it's like, that is you. You know what I mean? That is your like younger self, and you just left it. So maybe it's just a case of, with my inner child, I've just got to do maybe some more work with that, and that can help the trauma in some way to help me push a little bit more forward. But obviously that's not the only thing. Like I've said on my Fearful Soul video, there's a lot of stuff that I went into for another reason why I'm quiet. But this video is strictly talking about me coming out as being nervous or getting nervous, and it doesn't seem that crazy and it doesn't seem mind-blowing, but I feel like it is something that I should have said to people, and I shouldn't have kept to myself. So in some sense, I guess it was kind of hiding and not telling the truth and lying, because I'd be like, I don't get nervous, and then because of that, I wouldn't be able to show it, and then I would have to do it, and then it would make my heart. If like my friend was like, go and talk to him, I'd be like, but I'd have to do it because obviously what I said. So then if it's like, if I say it, and then it's like, yeah. And then another thing that I didn't want to say is because I know my friend, he wants the best for me. So I was thinking, well, if I say he's going to make me talk to more people, or like influence me to go and talk to more people, if I'm not doing it enough myself, you know what I mean? And then it's a bit like, I don't want that exactly, you know what I mean? But then it's like, can I really complain if I'm not doing it? That's why I think I was being a bit of a hypocrite and contradicting myself. But it's just more of the starting the conversation. I feel like I can hold a conversation well, just from me talking to myself and the books I've read and just the knowledge I have. A conversation, right, is you together. That's the whole point of it. Like feedback from both of you. So if I'm just blabbering on about myself, unless they're generally interested, I'm chewing their ear off, and I may as well just talk to me about myself or someone else, not some random stranger. So you want to talk about them, you want them to get them to talk about themselves, because everyone loves to talk about themselves. If I'm being honest, I love talking about myself, and it's like everyone has that, and it's not a bad thing as long as you're getting input from them about themselves and you're listening, because listening is just as important as talking. So if I'm just blabbering on talking, they're not having any input, so it's not a conversation because we're not communicating together, it's just one side. So because of that, and like the knowledge I know, I think so consciously of how to guide the conversation. So it's like I wouldn't go and talk about something that I normally talk about unless it naturally flows in a conversation. Otherwise, I'm like pulling random things out of nowhere. I like to control the conversation, but I like to let it flow naturally. If they're talking about their life and something traumatic that happened to them, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, how many sets do you do at the gym? That just takes it one side, like boom, like, you know what I mean? The thing is, I have the knowledge and I can do it. It's just I'm restricted by my own mentality. It's like I'm not like some antisocial person or someone who doesn't know how to communicate. I have like some experience and like some knowledge, but that can get heightened even more if I actually go out there more and do it. And I know this, but like I said, it's just a mental thing. So when I talk to them, I make sure I look them in the eye and I get like a handshake off them, because most people don't hold eye contact. Then when they shake people's hands, it's like that. It's like a dead fish. And I want to improve holding eye contact with people, improve shaking hands with people, because most people don't even know how to give a handshake or can hold eye contact. So it's like I'm doing things more than the average person, but I still feel like there's so much more. And I just feel like there's just a lot of pressure from myself because of just with how my mind is and just the stuff that I want and the places that I want to be and like who I want to be. It's just there's a lot going on, and especially with like my friend being so sociable, it like adds on to that. So it's just like, oh, if I want to make this certain amount of money and I had to do it by networking, I'm gonna have to start talking to people. But then my mentality, and then it's like a question that I thought is, can you talk to people while being yourself for the first time seeing them, or is it natural for everyone in the whole world to not be 100% themselves when meeting someone? Because you gotta think there's energy at play. When you talk to someone new, it's a new energy. You know what I mean? It's something that you're not used to. It's like when you go to different places, there's a different vibe, there's a different energy. When you see someone and they're dressed a certain way, you get a certain vibe of them because of how they look and how they carry themselves. So is it natural because energy is at play and that's a real thing? Or can individuals out there actually just go up to anyone and be 100% themselves and just be comfortable? You know what I mean? So it's like I would question myself and just dive deeper. And like I said, overthinking isn't exactly the great thing, but I overthink in a way of not to worry, into improve how my mind works by talking about so many different things and seeing so many different things. But sometimes that can lead to a bit of overthinking, I'm not gonna lie. So I like to control the conversation, and I think so consciously about it, where it's like, it's not exactly rolling off the tongue. I'm thinking of what to talk about, and then the conversation flows. Instead of, if I just go to my friend, I can just yap. You know what I mean? To them, I don't necessarily yap. Even though it's flowing naturally after I've started, I have to think specifically what to talk about. So it's just more of the push to go and do it. But yeah, that's it for this video. I do have like other videos that I want to do that are a lot more long-winded and that kind of tie into this. But I'm going to stop it here because this is specifically about just me coming out as, I keep saying me coming out as if I'm me coming out as I'm gay. I mean, me being like nervous, actually having a lot of nerves, and how I tried to hide it and how like it's affected me. That's obviously just a goal of this video. But I'm going to end the video here, and I'll see you lot later.